The girls, because they knew I was Polish, asked me, did I see the film? And I said yes, and it's factual. Fine, I made a film, but it's factual. And Man of Marble was one of his last ones, done in many, many decades later. And it was about communism coming down, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
It's a bazaar.
Bazaar?
It's a bazaar.
Uh-huh. Do you want to go to Mamika's bedroom?
And I came across this concept in this article that DNA is very, very stable.
Are you talking to me, Mum?
Extermination camps. People who are in extermination camps.
Mum, can you turn towards me a little bit?
Sorry?
Can you turn towards me? Is that possible?
People, like extermination. What happened to people in extermination camps? Those who were not exterminated. What the article gave evidence that DNA gets rattled.
En fait, t'as des lumières? Oui, j'en ai trouvé une.
Where do you think Mamika sleeps? Here? I think she sleeps at your feet, Alix.
Oh.
This is her, but this is Mamika's bed. Here. So Dad told you about Auschwitz? Did you
I knew that he'd been in Auschwitz, and I knew that when I was 10, I think.
Why do you think he could write about Auschwitz in his newspaper?
Because he was one. Because you're one remove. When you're making, that's the only way I can explain it. If you are hurting a lot and you put that into a sculpture or a painting or a written thing, then you are one remove. You're not neutral. You'll never be that.
And he wrote a lot about his guilt particularly towards the Jews, because he'd been a member of the
with
Phalange before the start of the war.
Yes. I think he, like me, was very opinionated. I think, once I get something in my head, it takes a lot to persuade me to change my mind or whatever.
What was your dad's relationship to food?
Overeating, but that's nothing to do with eating disorders. That's entirely to do with having been starved in a different, forcibly starved. I'm maybe forcibly starved by my mind, but Daddy was starved in Auschwitz like everybody else was. So it was a reaction. Like if you've been short of something for a long time, you then overdo it. When people say, how much do you weigh? And I say what I weigh. I don't know, because I've stopped weighing myself. That's how I know I'm fatter. I say I weigh whatever I weigh, but really I want to weigh nothing. And they look at me and say, but that's balmy. I say, it's not balmy, because if they can't see me, they can't criticise me, they can't judge me, and they can't condemn me.
Hello.
You are on
don't
film.
get me on the bloody camera. I'm not a film person. I'm sorry.
I need to check that he's the only person that does. I want someone nice, don't we? I've not looked at these for so long, I don't even know where it is. But if it's not
these are all your bags, Mum.
They're so good to me, aren't they?
You keep stuff in a hotel.
Because I've got my lovely friend.
She's hoarding here now.
She's totally aware.
So you needed
totally aware of how I am.
You need a new place to fill up, Mum. The psychologists you've had, is it 5?
Speak high.
The psychologists, how
many?
I've
seen them all off. I'm very proud of that.
I know, but how many has
well, the first one I saw once and never went back again. And didn't pay her for that session either.
Okay.
These I don't pay for because they're NHS.
So what have they said the hoarding's down to?
Well, probably not addressing the post-traumatic stress disorder.
You told me a couple of years ago that you thought the house was Auschwitz. You actually
I do, and I've written, and it's in my little telephone as well, where I took pictures.
So how is the house connected to Auschwitz?
Well, the sheer difficulties of it. What I have to do. So every time I'm cold, I think, well, of course, in the winter I have to go from here, unless I'm willing to die here. So when I'm cold, I think of Syria. And when the war in Iraq started, I couldn't cope. And it started on the night of the 19th of March.
That's not the...
It is
that's
the point.
not Auschwitz.
No, it is the point, because my parents, one in the occupation, the other one in Auschwitz, with her family, Pelagia's family murdered in Auschwitz, that the war in Iraq, as he said, that idiot, started on the night of my parents' anniversary. And I found that really hard. And I immediately thought that my parents must have been bad.
So the house is an attempt to replicate Auschwitz?
No. There's no
fighting with that?
No, there's no it's the other way around. I look at all this and I think there's a reason for it, because nobody would make their life this difficult, Danny. Nobody would do this. And I have brittle bone disease, osteoporosis. I am insane.
So you are trying...
I'm what?
I am insane.
I am insane.
Anorexia, do you see that
The anorexia, I remember when I was at university, I was trying to understand it, and I don't know whether I was right or wrong. When I heard that how they had next to nothing to eat in Auschwitz, I wanted to find out what it was like. But I think you cannot do that consciously. There must have been something else going on in me.
And you've been doing that ever since?
Well, no, because I'm very fat in comparison with how I was. That's another picture my mother destroyed. He has no tats for the numbers. He was number 952. But before it was only when
she destroyed the picture
because I wanted you to take those to school, so she destroyed them. Don't ask me about the psychology of that. I don't understand.
When I was doing the research for the film I wanted to make about your dad, I went online, typed in your dad's name, and immediately it comes up with the Auschwitz pictures.
But that's obviously because it's the most important thing in his life, isn't it?
Yeah, but there seems to be nothing else there.
Oh, well, maybe they're trying to shock people into it. I don't know, Danny. I
mean, they're linked to the Auschwitz Museum, but I can't find any other pictures of your dad.
Well, they're in there, in that room.
And what are the pictures of...
Well, one is when he set up the first library when he was given political... I mean, Danny, we do actually... You said somewhere on those...
they're in the front room here?
Yeah. And I know where they are, but we've got to dig to get there. Behind all these piles, there's a door.
I'll take a torch.
There. Behind that door, there is a big... Do you remember the room you said it has a really nice vibe? You said that in 2002.
That's an entrance to a room.
It is.
And then there are pictures of your dad.
Yes. Well, I didn't think anybody would ever want them. The number of times I've been told I've made all this up. You're here to... Don't move anything forwards. You've got tomorrow and that's your lot.
Oh, no.
Unless you're staying extra. I can still pay for you if you want to stay.
No, thanks, man.
You want to go?
I want to get in here and get that picture.
Sorry?
I want to get in here and get that picture.
Well, you can do that tomorrow. We're not doing it now.
Okay.
They're in the desk. In the drawer.
There's I can see your painting.
Yeah, that's ruined. Because I knifed it.
I know you knifed it.
But Alice, I was very frightened. I was a very bad girl. I would never have touched her, but I can see why she thought that I would kill her. I can see that. I have to. If I can't get in tonight, I won't. I'll have to sleep outside.
Jeez, what was that? Something snapped. Okay.
So have we finished?
Yes, we're done for today.
Very tired.
Oh, no, sorry. Okay.
It's the only way I can undertake anything physical is for me to direct another person to do the physical thing, because my back can break at any time, Danny.
might go for these, they're a bit colourful. It's only an extra tenner. No, it's 70, it's extra 15.
Where's that human calculator when you need it?
Yeah, these in a size 7. Yeah,